My entire life revolved around Daniel, 30 years of sacrifice. Day and night, no rest, no breaks. I raised him through sickness, paid for every school he attended, skipped meals to make sure he never lacked, and watched my marriage fall apart because my husband didn't want to raise an adopted, sick child. But I chose Daniel. I chose love over comfort. I chose him over everything I had. And through all those years, I never asked for anything in return, until the day he made me wish I hadn't given so much. When I lost my job as Eleanor's assistant, someone who had treated me like family, I told Daniel, thinking he would understand. Instead, his face twisted in disgust. "You quit? That job paid $8,000 a month. What now?" Planning to freeload. I didn't recognize him anymore. Chloe, his wife, scoffed. Victoria, her mother, smirked like she had been waiting for this moment. Not one of them asked how I was feeling or what I needed. Just blame, just mockery. I reminded them of everything I'd done, how I cared for Chloe through her pregnancy, how I cooked, cleaned, supported their life silently in the background. But they dismissed me like I was nothing. "Hire a professional," Victoria said with venom. Then Daniel, the child I sacrificed everything for, told me to work until I was 80. Victoria even suggested I take a job as a live-in assistant for the elderly, or get sent to a senior facility. That's when something inside me snapped. He blamed me for ruining his life. He shouted that he never asked to be saved. His voice was full of hatred. The same voice that once cried in my arms now cast me aside like garbage. I looked at him, calm and broken all at once, and I told him the truth he never wanted to hear, that he was adopted, that I found him abandoned when no one else wanted him, that I gave up my world to give him a life. He froze. No one spoke. I left that house with nothing but the clothes on my back. No one knew what I had left behind, but even more importantly, no one knew what I was walking toward. The moment I left that house, I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I checked into the highest-rated luxury hotel in the city. Marble floors, chandeliers, staff who bowed when they spoke. It felt like stepping into another world. I didn't belong yet, but I had one call to make. Eleanor's lawyer answered on the first ring. "It's time," I said, my voice calm. "Let's talk about the house." A few days later, I was standing in front of a stunning modern villa. Glass walls, ocean view, silence that didn't feel empty. Maya, a polite junior realtor, showed me around. She had no idea who I was, and I liked that. But as we walked through the living room, I heard heels clicking hard against marble. Skylar, Victoria's niece, senior realtor. She stopped dead, eyes narrowing when she saw me. "Is this a joke?" she said loudly. "That's the housekeeper I told you about. She's broke. A fraud." Guests turned, staring. Skylar laughed and motioned for security. "Please remove her before she steals something." I didn't flinch. I took out my phone, pulled up the bank app and turned the screen around. Over $8 million. Clear as daylight. The crowd gasped. Skylar froze. "It's fake," she muttered. "It has to be." I looked at Maya. "I'll take this villa," I said. Maya blinked, nodded, and hurried to process the papers. Skylar, furious, couldn't hold back. She hissed something under her breath about me being a washed-up servant pretending to be royalty. I stayed quiet until the manager walked over. That's when I smiled. "Maybe ask her how she got promoted," I said, loud enough for everyone. "Sleeping with clients wasn't in the job description, was it?" Gasps. Silence. Skylar's face drained of colour. The manager, Alex, turned to her. "Is that true?" Skylar couldn't speak. She didn't need to. Her eyes gave her away. Within minutes, she was fired on the spot. The security guards who came to escort me. Now they were leading her out. Later that week, I bought a second villa. Through Maya, of course. She smiled wide and called me Miss Evelyn, with genuine respect. And as I signed the final papers, I thought, this is just the beginning. Let them wonder where the money came from. Let them talk. I wasn't hiding anymore. I walked into the high-end music gallery like I owned it. In truth, I didn't yet, but the grand piano caught my eye, a sleek, black Steinway worth more than most homes. I ran my fingers across the keys. It had a sound that made silence jealous. I sat down and started to play. Not flashy, just real. Every note had a memory stitched to it. And then, the vultures arrived. Victoria, Brenda, and their little circle of smug smiles. They gasped, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Wash your hands before touching that," Brenda sneered. "God knows where they've been." The others laughed. "She probably wandered in thinking it's a shelter," Victoria added. "She can't even afford the bench." I didn't stop playing. My hands moved faster, louder, until the entire store went quiet. Customers gathered. Applause. A man recorded it. One woman asked if I was a concert pianist. Brenda scoffed. It's fake. Probably some pre-recorded nonsense. Her voice cracked a little. I stood up, looked straight at the manager. I'll take it, I said. He blinked. You mean, you want to rent n— No, I said. Buy. Today. Victoria's face fell. You bought this? She choked. What about the villas? The car outside? Where are you getting all this money? Brenda stepped forward, voice sharp. This has to be fraud. She's conning someone. I've seen it before. I was scammed once. She dialed the police, eyes burning. I calmly pulled out my phone again. $8 million. Same screen, same silence, the same sinking expression on every face I used to serve tea to. Victoria laughed bitterly. You're just desperate to prove a point. Lucky money, that's all. I tilted my head. Desperate? You mean like when you told me to keep working till 80? Like when you laughed about me becoming a live-in assistant or scrubbing old people in a facility? I played the recording on my phone. Every word, crystal clear. Their laughter, their insults. Gasps erupted, phones recorded. Brenda tried to back away. Victoria couldn't move. Her shame rooted her to the floor. I closed the piano lid softly. You should have washed your words before speaking, I said. Then I turned, walking out, the store door swinging wide like the entrance to my new world. Daniel sent flowers, dozens of white lilies with a note that read, Forgive me, Mom. I didn't even open the card. I tossed the bouquet into the trash, snapped a photo, and texted it to him with a single message. You're banned from this property. The next morning, he was outside the gates, waiting. Same the day after, and the one after that. Kneeling on the pavement, tears soaking his collar, hands trembling, voice breaking. Mom, please, I was wrong. Just talk to me. People passed by, whispering. He didn't care. He just sat there, broken and barefoot in spirit. But I stayed silent. My driver rolled past him each day with tinted windows. No glances, no stops, just cold, deliberate distance. Eventually, he stopped showing up. Then Robert called. I hadn't spoken to him in years. My ex-husband, the man I once trusted. His voice was shaken. Daniel came to me, he said. Demanded answers. Forced a paternity test. There was a pause. He knows I'm not his biological father. I had no choice but to tell him. I never wanted it to come from me. I could feel my hands tightening around the phone. A secret I'd buried so deep had finally clawed its way back to the surface. Why now? I asked. He looked desperate, shaking, like a boy trying to hold on to the last thread of who he thought he was. Robert replied. I warned him. But Evelyn, he knows. The walls of my villa never felt so quiet. I sat in the stillness, thinking about the moment I first held Daniel in my arms. Fragile, sick, unwanted by the world. I remembered the promise I made that night. I'll protect you. I'll be your world. Now that world was crashing. I poured myself a cup of tea, but it tasted like nothing. My heart thudded as if counting down to an explosion I couldn't delay. I stared out at the horizon, wondering if Daniel still sat somewhere, replaying every memory with new meaning. The time had come, not to comfort, not to coddle, but to tell him the truth, raw, sharp, and long overdue. He had questions, and I owed him the answers, even if they shattered what little we had left. Daniel's face filled the screen, red-eyed, trembling, his voice soaked in heartbreak. He said to thousands watching live. And then she tossed me aside like trash. She got rich and shut the door in. He paused, let a tear fall. I don't want her money. I just want her love. The sympathy came flooding in. Comments overflowed with pity. You deserve better. What kind of mother does that? Within days, Daniel's follower count exploded. Donations poured in. Strangers sent him food, clothes, even plane tickets. And the worst of them, they came for me. They doxed my address, leaked photos from when I was just a housekeeper. My inbox swarmed with hate. You monster. Rot in hell. How could you abandon your son after getting rich? I didn't even recognize the woman they described. Cold, greedy, evil. That wasn't me. But to them, perception was truth. My lawyer called in a panic. We can sue him for defamation, emotional distress. This is slander, Evelyn. But I said no. Daniel wanted a war. Fine. But I wasn't going to fight with lawyers. No. I'd speak in the language he chose, the one he thought I didn't understand. I created my own account, quietly. No fancy edits, no flashy bio, just a single video uploaded anonymously. with a $1,000 donation to Daniel's live chat. "Hi son," I wrote. "Since you've gone public, so will I. My side tomorrow. Let's see if truth sells as well as tears." The message exploded. His chat lit up with confusion and curiosity. My video, it spread like wildfire. I named it, "So This is the Mum Who Abandoned Daniel." I didn't show my face, just promised a stream. And one more thing, $100,000 in giveaways. Not for pity, but for attention and truth. I leaned back in my chair, calm and calculating. This wasn't about revenge anymore. This was about reclaiming my name, my voice, and the years I sacrificed. He thought he knew how to play the crowd. He forgot who taught him how to survive. My live stream began with silence. I looked at the screen, thousands watching, judging, waiting. Then I spoke, calmly, not for revenge, but for truth. I said I never wanted to hurt Daniel. I was planning to give him everything. Eleanor's trust, $8 million. It was meant to be a surprise on his birthday. I raised him, loved him, protected him. But in the end, he only saw me as a burden. I held up the trust document, let the viewers see it with their own eyes. Proof, cold, hard, undeniable. Then I explained what happened after I lost my job. The first thing he did was mock me, called me a freeloader. His wife and her sister laughed. They didn't care that I'd raised him through illness, worked day and night, sacrificed my own life for his comfort. They told me to keep working till I was 80, suggested I become a live-in assistant or go to a senior facility like I was nothing, just a tool past its use. Then I played the recording. His voice filled the stream, sharp, cruel, real. "You quit? That was $8,000 a month. You think you can just sit around now?" Then Victoria's voice, cold and clear. "There are plenty of elderly homes. You'll be fine." The viewers went silent. Comments poured in. "This can't be real. How could they treat her like this? Even if he was stressed, this is evil." Some still defended him, saying maybe he was pressured, maybe he didn't mean it. But I didn't argue with them. I didn't need to. I looked into the camera and said, all I ever wanted was respect. Not gifts, not praise, just the decency a mother deserves. But to him, I was only useful as long as I kept giving. I let the silence sink in. Then I said the final word. This was only part of the story. The rest will explain everything. The stream ended, but something had shifted. The mask Daniel wore for the world. It cracked, and I wasn't going to stop until everyone saw what was underneath. I dropped a big bombshell. Daniel was adopted. He was found abandoned in a dumpster when he was only 1 year old, suffering from a severe heart defect. To prove it, I showed the adoption certificate to everyone watching. The proof was clear, and the viewers were stunned. Then, I shared everything I sacrificed for him. My ex-husband refused to raise a sick adopted child, so I divorced him. I chose to care for Daniel. I worked multiple jobs to pay for his hospital bills, his education, and even bought the house he lives in. To back it up, I showed hospital bills, tuition receipts, and mortgage documents. People watching Daniel's live stream turned on him after hearing the truth. Daniel panicked and shouted, "She's lying! Why would she say that?" Then, full of anger, he said, "She ruined my life. I never asked her to save me." After that, the public stopped supporting him. Many unfollowed, and eventually, his channel was banned because of all the negative backlash. I stayed calm, watching as the truth changed everyone's view of what really happened. I didn't celebrate or gloat. This wasn't about revenge. I just wanted to tell my real story, about my sacrifices, my love for Daniel, and how unfairly I was treated. I hired my lawyer to sue Daniel for defamation and harassment. The court sided with me, ruling that Daniel had to pay damages and legal fees. They also issued a permanent ban preventing him from attacking me online or spreading lies about me ever again. That victory wasn't just about money or punishment. It was about clearing my name and finally ending the nightmare he created. Next, I legally reclaimed my original house, the place I once called home. Standing inside those walls again, I felt a freedom I hadn't known for years. It wasn't just a building. It was a symbol of everything I fought for and everything I refused to lose. It belonged to me, and now it was mine again. Meanwhile, Chloe filed for divorce from Daniel. The truth and his downfall had shattered whatever relationship they had. The same people who once laughed at me were now watching Daniel fall apart. Daniel disappeared from the public eye, vanishing without a trace. Years later, a few reports surfaced about him being homeless and mentally broken in Canada. I couldn't say I felt sorry for him, not after everything he did. The man who had betrayed me, who had tried to destroy me, was now a shadow of himself, lost and alone. With the stress behind me, I sold the 2 villas I had bought. They brought me a good profit, proof that my decisions were smart, even when people doubted me. The money wasn't just about wealth, it was a symbol of my strength and resilience. I wasn't just surviving anymore, I was rebuilding. Every step, every fight, and every win had brought me back to a place where I controlled my life again. And though the scars of betrayal remained, so did the knowledge that I had the power to rise above it all. I moved to a quiet lakeside town, far away from the noise and chaos that had filled my life for so many years. The air was fresh, the water calm, and the pace slow. It was the kind of place where mornings felt like a gentle promise and evenings whispered peace. Here I began to live for myself, not for anyone else's expectations or demands. My days found new meaning in simple pleasures. I started gardening, watching tiny seeds grow into vibrant flowers and strong plants. It was healing to nurture life in the soil, something steady and real. Painting became my refuge. Colors and brushstrokes gave voice to feelings I had long buried. The quiet life I built wasn't flashy or loud, but it was mine. For the first time in a long time, I felt true peace. When people ask me if I regret adopting Daniel, my answer is clear. No, I don't regret saving him or loving him, but I do regret not learning to protect myself sooner. I gave so much without boundaries, thinking love meant endless sacrifice. I see now that loving yourself is just as important as loving others. Without that, you risk losing everything that makes you whole. This journey taught me something vital. It's never too late to become someone who lives for themselves. We often think self-care is selfish, but it's really survival. Taking care of your heart, mind, and soul is the foundation for anything good in life. I was broken by betrayal and hardship, but I also rebuilt myself stronger than before. Peace isn't about forgetting the past. It's about finding a way to live despite it. I'm grateful for the lessons, even the painful ones, because they led me here. Now, I move forward with quiet strength, knowing that the best kind of freedom is the one you give yourself. So, if you're struggling or feeling lost, remember, you deserve to live a life that's yours alone. It's never too late to find that peace and start anew. Do you think Evelyn was right to stand up for herself and reclaim her life? Or should she have kept forgiving Daniel despite everything? I'd love to hear what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more stories full of twists, revenge, and truth, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update.